crafters, it's Amanda here with our second Tutorial Tuesday. So today I thought it'd be fun because summer's coming up, and you might have the chance to go to the beach and get seashells. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be using a process. I'm going to show you how to easily clean seashells and bring out their color. I have some cockle shells here, and you might notice that there's a little bit of kind of whiteness. Let me find another one. If you look at this one, is a whelk. It looks kind of like a conch. And you can kind of see the colors underneath it, but everything's kind of whited out and faded. But we're going to use a process that will cause the colors to really pop. So you can see this tiny whelk here. It's really cute with all the colors in it. And seashells are great for crafting. You can use one of these cockle shells as like a soap dish. And if you look online, there's lots of ideas for decorating stuff. So I thought this would be a cool thing to do. So let's talk about what you need first of all. For our setup here, you obviously will need seashells. Then you're going to need some muriatic acid. Be very careful with this. The acid is very strong, but you can see I've got gloves on here and I've got safety goggles I'm going to be putting on in just a moment. You want to be very careful with the muriatic acid. You're going to need, we had to open this one, so we used a plastic knife to open the little covering part there, because if you use metals and stainless steels, it can change their color. So that's why we're using plastic buckets also. So the plastic buckets, you can use, these are some 5-gallon buckets here, just Lowe's and Home Depot. And we have them both filled with water. So this one is filled with water, and this is our rinsing bucket for once we've already done the cleaning process. And this is the one where the cleaning actually happens. So in your first bucket, you're going to need to fill it with enough water so that way your shells can be completely submerged. So this is my biggest shell here that I have, this whelk. So when I was filling up this bucket, I needed to make sure I had enough in here that I could completely submerge this one. And then once you fill it up with some water, you're going to do, it's 3 parts water and 1 part muriatic acid. But again, you want to be very careful with the muriatic acid. You want to make sure you put the water in the bucket before you pour the muriatic acid in, because if you do the acid first and the water, it gets nasty with the explosion or something crazy. But if you have water already in there, it goes ahead and absorbs the heat and the energy from the reaction when the muriatic acid and the water join together. So we'll set this out of the way for now. So you've got your rinsing bucket with just water, and then you have your bucket with 3 parts water, 1 part muriatic acid. And here's where the magic happens. So this is our setup. So here I am, I have this cockle shell here. You can see it's got the pretty blue designs, but there's kind of some white and some spots where the blue's kind of this hazy, kind of grayed out. We'll get a look at the inside of the shell. This one's a little bit wet, so you can see the color a little bit better than if it were dry, but this has not yet been processed. So the idea for when you do the process is you're going to completely submerge the shell in the muriatic acid and water solution, and then you're going to rinse it in the water really good. So when you do the muriatic acid part, you want to make sure that the shell is completely submerged, but you also want to keep yourself safe. I was looking at these gloves, and my right glove has a hole here, so I'm going to use my left hand to hold it. I'm just going to hold it at the very top here, and you're going to put it in there for 3 seconds. Going to go 1, 2, 3. So let's put this guy in here and see how he turns out. So it's the moment of truth. Here we go. So 1, 2, 3. And immediately into the water here. Water will get all kind of rinsed off. Ooh, and look at that. You can see how the color, it's got a deeper, richer color. It's not so grayed out. You can see more of the details coming out here. Let's look at the inside. Inside didn't change too much, but it's still, the colors on the outside definitely popped, especially along here. You can really see all the nice details. Let's try another shell and see how it turns out. So this one here is a clamshell. You can notice that this part here is a little bit darker, but that's because it's wet from when I rinsed it off. When it's dry, that's what it looks like. It's got that white cloudy look to it. So we're going to see if we can get some more colors on this one. You can see the underside, so I wonder if that purple's going to pop some more. So let's try it out. all rinsed out. Whoa, look at that. You guys remember how white it was on these sides? And how it's now coming in darker? Let's see. Oh, look at that purple. That is so beautiful. It even brought out the purple under here. Can you see? That's so pretty. It definitely brought that purple out some more. You can see some additional color along the bottom. And that's our clamshell. Just for curiosity's sake, you can see that these sides didn't come as bright as the back. They definitely improved from how they were earlier. So just for curiosity's sake, I'm going to try putting it in there one more time, but I'm only going to do it really fast because the muriatic acid is so strong. No, I think it did bring it back on the side a little more. There are still kind of those grooves there where there's not as much color, but I do think it did improve on the side there. But here we have another whelk. This one you can see it's really chalky, but you can kind of see some colors peeking through in the bottom. So I'm hoping this one's going to have a really dramatic change. This is what the inside looks like. So let's see how it goes. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Ooh, and you can see the acid kind of bubbling in physics, so you definitely want to be careful. I almost got my clothes that time. Really got it rinsed off. Let me get the inside rinsed out good. Oh, check it out. That one definitely cleaned it up. You know how it was so white and chalky before, but now you can see these pinks in there. We couldn't see that before we started this. You can see the pretty pattern on the top really brought out the oranges. All right, I'm really excited after that last one. I'm thinking this one's going to be really cool when it's all done. So let me figure out, okay, if I can get a good grip on it, because I definitely don't want to drop this and have to fish it out. Okay. Yeah, the whelks are a little bit more challenging because I like to touch water. Check that out. Wow. Look at the detail and the color on that one. You can even see like all the stripes down here. I'll show you the top. This is gorgeous. This is so, so cool. The inside's really neat too. It definitely brought out the color. Made a very big difference. So here I am with this whelk. I'm going to try a different way of holding it because the last couple times it kind of pooled water down here, and it's important that you get it out of the acid into the water really fast because every moment the acid is on here it will keep eating it away. So let's see if these blues and grays really pop. Get a good grip on it. Let's try like this. And here we go. Ooh, these are going to be cool. Check it out. I love those grays. It looks so much like the beach. Just the shades, you know, like the sand and the sky and the clouds. Beautiful. This is a shell I just did. We had some camera difficulties, and because it's so time sensitive a process, we missed catching it on camera. But this one, we did notice some color, especially under here. It really brought the color out. I'm not sure what kind of shell this actually is, but we've just always called them belly button shells in my family because it kind of looks like a little belly button there in the middle. But this one saw a little bit of color improvement. All right, our daylight's fading fast. Hopefully you can see this. But this is another whelk, and this one we have high hopes for. So let us see how it turns out. 1, 2, 3. Cool, look at the top. Here, I'll show you that in just a moment. You can see it definitely brought out the darkness. It looked a lot more blue before. That was a very drastic change. Now it's kind of got this like black. You can almost see like greens in there. The top I think is beautiful. It definitely defined the spiral of the whelk and brought out the color on the tips. Very cool transformation. Showing the real colors of this shell. So this shell, I've still got to do some more cleaning of it because there's sand on here, but I want you to get a picture of it before it's wet, because when it's wet it brings out the color a little more, but it's not a permanent change like the muriatic acid causes. But I want you to see how dull and kind of chalky this one is. I'll show you the outside. So we're hoping that this cleaning process will really make the colors pop. So I cleaned the sand off this shell, and now we're going to dunk it. What's cool about this shell is it's not a complete shell actually, but we just thought it was very interesting because you kind of see the inside of it, so you see what the spiral looks like, kind of how the shell is developed. You can see the Fibonacci sequence at the top. Hey, that's pretty cool. It definitely brought out more of the color in here. If you saw how chalky it was and how this is like actually has color instead of just looking kind of white. You can also see the ribbing on the shell more, and it defined the spiral more. So here you can see I've completed these shells here in the front. I haven't done all of these ones off to the side. but you can see the color difference, especially if you compare it to the first clip. If you rewind the video and see the before pictures, there's definitely a dramatic change on a lot of these shells. And so I hope that this inspires you to try this method, and it's great because it gets your shells prepared for crafting. And I've got to go ahead and finish up. We've got a whole big bucket of even more shells, and I'll put some pictures up on my blog once I do some more if there's any other really cool changes. But for now, I'm going to finish with these guys, and you can go try this yourself. So happy crafting!